Yo, we're back. This time with arguably, I would agree, the best of all the conference tournaments, the biggest tournament at Madison Square Garden in New York City. And once again, we've got the odds up on DraftKings and FanDuel, and we've got the bracket. We'd love to hear what you guys think, who you guys think is going to win, who your sleepers, busts are. That's what we're going to be talking about, looking at the futures market as well as just matchups in the first round of the quarterfinals that are set, and then other matchups that we're eyeing down the line. So, Nick, what's your first reaction to this bracket, and who are your picks?
First glance, my opinion hasn't changed all year. I think this is like probably everyone's opinion is UConn's, arguably the best team in the country, for sure the best team in the Big East. I know I had been talking with you for really the last month that it would kind of come down to the last home game for Marquette. I really wanted a narrative to push UConn for them to have like motivation, and they're still going to have motivation. But I wanted like a good narrative for them to win the Big East tournament because they lost last year to Marquette. But they swept them. They swept them this year. Once with Kolek, and they blew them out. Once without Kolek, they still won. That was at Marquette. They're the team to beat. Laying minus 135 is not the sexiest thing. It's not the most attractive thing. Do I think they can be challenged by, St. John's or Seton Hall possibly? Yes. But not enough to fade them. When they're in the title game versus either likely Creighton or Marquette, it'll be a pretty sizable favorite to the point where, minus 135 will then be value. I hate chalk. I hate laying a number to win a Big East tournament, but I wouldn't talk anyone off of it here, even though it's really not that good at all. I just want to talk anyone off of it, honestly. I will say, dark horse wise, trying to avoid the UConn top bracket. If we're going to say and cement them into the semis, dark horse would probably be. I don't want to say it, but it's probably going to be Villanova. Is that who you were going with?
Hell no.
Yeah, I mean,
no.
It's not going to be – I don't see Providence either, though. I just don't see it. I mean, I don't know. 20-1 is not crazy for Villanova to do or die, but they stink, in my opinion. I mean, can't go down 30-8 versus Creighton.
Now you're speaking my language.
It can't be, Neptune. Let's get this guy out of here. Nah, but, I mean, yeah. I don't see how this bracket's honestly not chalk. Honestly – besides St. John's beating Seton Hall, which is 5-4, which really isn't even that big of an upset. And by the way the odds have it, it's not an upset. So it's probably all chalk here. So matchup-wise, what I would really want to happen would be I really want to bet St. John's versus Seton Hall, honestly. I think everyone probably will. St. John's has been looking really good lately. I think so. Seton Hall's been looking pretty good too as well. You're seeing St. John's, Rick Pitino. I like them a little bit more than Shaheen Holloway, Seton Hall overall. So, I mean, probably be like a pick. But St. John's short favorite. I probably would look to attack that, especially at MSG, where they've played pretty much all season at home. On the other side, I mean, I just think it's going to be Creighton Marquette. I mean, honestly, in the semis, who would you go with in that semi game?
I think that's going to be first of all, I definitely think that game's going to happen. Yeah. I don't think Providence can touch Creighton. And, I mean, maybe if Villanova brings their A game and there's no Kolek, I think Villanova, that line would be pretty short if there's no Kolek. But if you're getting Kolek back, Marquette Creighton's going to be a fantastic game. And those teams always play close. Like, that's prime Big East tournament right there. When those teams play, I have no idea who's going to win that game. I would have no win. But based on how well Kolek played in last year in this tournament, if he's healthy, I would maybe lean Marquette. Like, it would be such a jolt to have him back. It's interesting. Look at FanDuel. Creighton's a heavy favorite compared to Marquette, and I understand. And to me, that makes me think that says something about Tyler Kolek. Because if Tyler Kolek's playing, there's no way that Marquette would be plus 600 and Creighton's plus 350. So that's telling to me. And then just also, Butler Xavier is going to be a crazy game. I have no idea who's going to win, but I would not touch that with a Temple poll. That game's probably going to go to overtime. And here's what I am thinking though. You mentioned it, but DraftKings has a very interesting line. having St. John's at plus 800 while FanDuel has them at twice that.
Yeah, that is. If you're looking to bet St. John's, I mean, bet them on FanDuel.
Yeah, please. But what I'm saying is, you mentioned it. Like, they've had a pretty easy schedule other than being Creighton in this 5-game win streak they're around. But St. John's would be my bold prediction for this tournament is St. John's has the best chance to beat UConn in their home gym. They played them really tough at UConn. I know there was no Klingon, and then you lost by 13 when you played at MSG. But that game was St. John's.
It was a little closer.
Yeah, and obviously the Patino effect influences my opinion, but it's like a team that crashes the glass, that has athleticism everywhere, that has depth. That's a team that can hang with UConn if shots are falling, right? Like, at the end of the day, UConn is so class. Like, they're so good. And there's a reason that they're, minus odds to win this tournament. If they can run most of these teams off the floor when they play their A game, St. John's is the team that I think has the best chance of picking them off before the champion. Obviously before the championship. Not Butler Xavier, but I think St. John's could have a better chance to beat them than Creighton or Marquette. Because we saw what Creighton did when Creighton beat UConn, right? When UConn was looking like world beaters, beating Marquette at home by 25, and then Creighton just didn't miss in that first half, and then, blew it open. Like, maybe Creighton will play them tough, but like UConn still got more gas than Creighton. That's UConn. When Creighton played at UConn, that was like the kind of the buzzer that went off for a lot of people. Like, all right, Creighton's maybe not a legit Final Four team. They've been fantastic since then. They've been off the charts since then. I don't even know if they've lost other than that St. John's game. No, they lost a couple in early February to Butler and Providence, but yeah, Creighton's been playing really well. Marquette, the Kolek thing is there, but I think Marquette is like a sleeper Final Four team. Absolutely, it's just a big question. But St. John's' athleticism, depth, what they showed against UConn in other matchups, Patino at home. I think my dark would absolutely be St. John's at 16-1.
Yeah. Do we know if Kolek is 100% back for the Big East tournament? Has that been said?
We don't. The plan has just been it's an oblique injury, and they said like the Big East tournament was like kind of the goal, or like he was out till at least the Big East tournament. But what I'm saying is that FanDuel odd tells me he's not playing. If he's playing,
I guess
I would bet Marquette plus 600. Or at least think about it. They do have the hardest quarterfinal game, though, playing Villanova, right? Like, I don't think Creighton breaks too much of a sweat playing. That's the thing. St. John's might not get a chance to play UConn if they lose to Seton Hall. I don't super trust St. John's to beat Seton Hall. I wouldn't necessarily beat them. But if I'm getting like 7.5, 8.5 for St. John's against UConn, I would probably play St. John's.
Yeah, I think that's what it like. Which when they played them at MSG before, they were only like 3-point underdog, which is like by now that's that number would get smoked. There's no way to be 3. It'd probably be double. It'd probably be like around 6 or 7, even more maybe. Let's not forget though, last March, Iona was up 2 points, I believe, at the half versus UConn. That was a Rick Pitino team. So now he's a better team with St. John's. It's March.
That was in my write-up the first time I took St. John's plus 11.5 at UConn. I took them to win that game outright. That would have been my best hit of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think St. John's won't trip up versus Seton Hall.
Seton Hall's good. Some people, I think Seton Hall's a lot good, but
they are good. The whole public will be on St. John's. Like, I guarantee that. But hey, that wins too.
The Big East stars, man. Like, we just did the ACC, right? And I'm looking at, and we were talking about teams that had guys. It's like Devin Carter's fantastic. He can't carry this team to this tournament. But like, UConn have stars. Like Kadari Richmond is filthy. That he is so good. When he just gets into his ISO and just doing crossovers, he just gets into the paint, gets a shot, or sets someone up. Like, and Seton Hall can go on droughts where they don't look good, but like Shaheen has them guarding, and they have a dude that like no one can really stop. But oh my God, Shireman I think should be Big East Player of the Year. By the way, congrats to UConn for their amazing season. Newton, Spencer.
Yeah, UConn doesn't have a Player of the Year. It's just everyone. It's a whole cast thing. Like, everyone is good who plays. Obviously Newton is tough. Like, he is best point guard in the league, I'd say. Would you take him over Kolek? That's a whole other debate, I guess. It's debatable though. but
It's honestly
probably wouldn't either.
probably going to be the biggest play of the year. I'm just saying I would vote for Shia.
Yeah. So yeah, let's talk like bust or dark horse here. Who would you go with for no value? Do not bet them. Dark horse. Who could you see get to the finals with some value?
My bust is Creighton. I don't think they're worth playing at that number. I don't think it's enough value. If you want to play them to lay a short number against Marquette, and you want to bet them to cover against UConn in the ship, I think that's a better route than to play them there. I don't see enough value on that. My sleeper would be St. John's, absolutely. And I would look at that Marquette. If there's announced that Kolik's playing, I would look at Marquette plus 600 for sure because of what they did last year. And, that's a huge jolt. They played well in his absence, and, he's a game changer. And we haven't really gotten to – UConn ran him off the floor at home. They played out of their mind, but, I'd like to think Marquette on a neutral court in a Big East championship game with their full health, is not getting run off the floor by UConn at all.
Yeah, that is a matchup I have circled. If Kolik is back, if Kolik's 100%, I want to bet them versus Creighton for sure. I think the way they set up, the way they match up, and everything. They split 1-1 this year. I'm 99.9% certain. I think they lost the last game to Creighton actually by double. Yeah, they did just a week ago by double digits without Kolik.
Right, because they didn't have Kolik or Oso.
Yeah, Oso was sick as well. Yeah, so yeah, that's a big game.
Creighton pulled away.
It was tight. Yeah, it was tight until the end. Yeah, no, I like Marquette a lot in that game. Call me crazy. I could possibly see Marquette beat UConn again in the finals. If Marquette, honestly, Marquette is a great match versus Villanova. I think they can blow them out. I don't see any problems there.
Cam Jones on the road.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's just a horrible matchup. The pace tempo is horrible for Villanova. Yeah, I think Marquette has no problem getting past them. They should beat Creighton. Marquette plus 600 is honestly not the worst odds. Honestly, it's not. If Kolik's 100%, I'd be interested in that.
I think it's fantastic odds if Kolik's on.
Yeah, it truly is. The fact that Creighton's ahead of them it's pretty astonishing. That's crazy to me. If you look at the odds, that makes Creighton the favorite. If they match up, but I don't see that at all. No way. Maybe the odds are factoring Kolik being out, but I feel like they are. I don't know honestly. I need to look more into Kolik, his status, everything. Maybe try to get some word on that. If I know, I'll let you know and everyone else know. But yeah, dark horse 16-1 in their home gym. It's got to be St. John's. There's nowhere else I could go with this. It's just that simple, really.
And real quick, there's likely 0 of you. There's a small chance there's 1 of you, and there's definitely not more than 2 DePaul fans watching this. You might notice that DePaul's not on the graphic. It was not me being disrespectful. I live in Illinois, so they weren't on. But I wonder what those DePaul, or maybe they didn't put odds up for DePaul. I don't know. But
George 251, probably 500 to 1 DePaul, but they should be,
That's their odds on that
game. Imagine if DePaul beat Villanova.
Lost to DePaul. Do you think Kyle Neptune would be fired 30 minutes after the game or the next day?
Yeah, hopefully as soon as the game's over, before he even gets in the locker room, just get him out of there.
You know what my sneaky bet spot in this? Like I said, I'm eyeing St. John's against UConn to cover a number, and the Kolik stuff. I think Marquette without Kolik laying a small number against Villanova, I would hammer Marquette.
Yeah, I still would go. I still would go Marquette. And what makes me more confident in that is the way they played versus Creighton without Kolik.
Right.
Obviously Osa, but I'm not saying Marquette is a system or anything like that. Kolik is a great player, but I do think Shaka has the personnel with and some good players on the bench, that are completely fine running the point guard. It doesn't change anything really schematically versus Villanova, in my opinion.
Yeah, Cam Jones has been – they just got a nice road win at Xavier. That's not an easy place to play. That's not an easy win. Cam Jones just elevates. He had 30 and 9 assists.
Cam Jones is on fire. He's averaging 26 points his last 6 games or something. He's a beast.
I was talking about stars in this league. Cam Jones is a star. And
star in this league. Yeah.
He kind of gets talked about the player on the team, which is crazy. Because he kind of is, but third most important maybe. But Ross, Mitchell, Joplin, Ben Gold, is solid. When they didn't have Oso at Creighton, Ben Gold all in.
Yeah, he's a good undersized stretch 5. He's good though.
I can't think of an apples to apples comparison of a team in a situation like Marquette that's like best player gets hurt, kind of sneaking under the radar going into the tournament, but yeah, I just don't know. I can't think of a situation this reminds me of, but I really hope he plays, and I hope he's healthy. Like I hope he's not laboring out there. Like I hope he's good.
Yeah.
Like oblique is a weird thing. I don't know what that pain is like.
Yeah, luckily it's just him. Like I can't see Marquette going in this tournament being like, okay, we got some banged. Like it's not like a group of banged up guys. It's just one banged up guy. So they still want to win. They still want to compete in this tournament. I can't see them being like Shaka being like, oh well, we're kind of injured. Let's not give our best in this tournament. Some coaches like Scott Drew of Baylor, like he's he has history of like just not caring in the Big 12 tournament, especially if some guys are banged up. It's just something to handicap and keep your eye on.
I didn't realize that. Has Baylor been bad in the Big 12 tournament?
I
know they lost at home by Iowa State last year.
Yeah, you can go look. Like his history in the Big 12 tournament is pretty bad. Like that's something to look out for. Like we never talked about that. Like some coaches do kind of punt the tournament just to get extra rest under the legs. They have guys banged up. Like good candidate for that. I'm not saying it.
They lost to Oklahoma State. They had Cade Cunningham at least, but the year they won the championship, they won. That's the only time they won a game in the last week.
I think I don't want to get too far off the path here, but for example, for a good candidate, a team like that is like Houston. Honestly, they have some banged up guys right now. They already won the league. How much does winning that tournament truly mean to them? Like they have their eyes on the national championship. They go down, so what? And then you have a good narrative to take them in the tournament. I'm not saying that's Marquette, but that's always something to look out for.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good point. And we'll get more into the Big 12 in our Big 12 video, which will be next. So thank you guys for joining. Like, subscribe, tell us who you got in the Big East tournament, and thanks for watching.